That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
No tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
Fairly alarmed here.
Welcome to Masters of the Nerdiverse presents Random Select. This is MOTN column Random Select. What is that thing with the two dots in literature, in like human language?
The three dots?
The two dots, you know, like
Two
colon.
dots?
Yeah. You
I
know,
don't know,
like Operation Double Drop. Before it says Operation, there's a two dots and it says Double Drop.
Or
Yeah,
like how
like
it says,
a colon?
Colon, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
We're
Off
on
to
the same page.
we're on the
two
same page.
periods on top of each other.
Those two
Yeah.
periods that love each other and expressing it physically.
Put it in a book.
This is the podcast where every year we choose 8 combatants to fight each other in a bloody mess until only one survives. And the topic of this year is comedies. So we've chosen 8 comedies to randomly select in a random movie generator. And those 8 movies have fought bloody fights up until now, where we have reached our semifinals. I am excited to introduce myself as Mike G. And with me, as always, the switch is Brian. What's going on,
Hey,
Brian?
everybody. How you doing?
And also with me, as always, is the host with the most, Winter Trash Monk III.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Trash Monk the Third.
I just want like a guitar man to be in the background just rocking out while you sing that. Guitar man. What do you call it? A guitarist? No, that doesn't sound right. It's a guitarman, right? A
Guitarist.
Nah, that can't be right. It's got to be like a guitar.
A guitarist.
A guitarer.
Like a pianist, an organist,
Yeah, you know, like a
a
piano.
keyboardist, the drummist, the drummer,
I thought it was just a drumming.
Drummond.
Or is that Mr. Drummond's? See, these are the questions that keep the Masters of the Nerdiverse up at night.
And they're gone.
And we lost all listeners. Here we're talking about the semifinals. These 2 movies have survived the circle of death. They survived the ground war and now have reached the second strata of the atmosphere. One of the movies we're going to be talking about tonight is 1999's own Office Space.
Classic, man. And it's hard cuts. Hashtag hard cuts. Knife fight in the back alley. I mean, we're going to be talking a little laughs here. So,
Yeah, man, we're going to talk about those yucks, you know. What's the opportune weapon in a knife fight? Is it just a knife or can you use a broken shard of glass?
in a knife fight, bro, you want to get whatever you can get your hands on, man.
Straight up.
You don't want to be in a knife fight. That is not a good place to find yourself.
Nah, it's not, because knife fights...
That's why I left my ex-wife.
Oh,
We're here every, Monday.
We're here every week. Remember to tip your waiter or waitress.
You know it's not here every week.
My wife.
My child, she has them on the weekends. Okay,
Wow.
so
Wow.
the next...
Winter Trash Monk the Fourth.
He's like, Dad.
Dad. He's real grown.
Dad.
He's real grown and resents you weren't in his life.
He's actually a year older than me.
He's a year older than He resents you super hard. Why weren't you there, Dad?
He's able to grow a bigger beard than me, and therefore I must hate him.
He's taller. He must fight you as all sons must fight their fathers at some point.
He's now known as Trash. I don't know. I'm just gonna go like X the third, X the fourth.
Trash X.
Yeah.
Did he renounce his name, Doug?
Yeah.
He just Trash Man. TMX versus DMX, Doug.
Man,
Man.
I must have huffed some acetone before we recorded
That's
or
okay.
something.
That's my secret cap. I'm always high. Office Space, 1999. Mike Judge classic. We definitely had our fill in regards to talking about how great this movie was on the original episode where it went up against what was the movie that Office Space went up against? Ladies and Germs, if we remember correctly. That was
Clueless? No, not Clueless.
no, it was not Clueless.
That was a lot of hours of movies ago.
Beverly Hills Cop. It fought Beverly Hills Cop.
DHC, that's right.
I fought the law and the law lost.
And I
The
think
heat is on.
I think
Yeah.
you picked Beverly Hills Cop, Mike, and then I picked Office Space, and then Brian went, which one's a comedy? And
Fair enough.
yeah.
But the community picked BHC.
It sure did. So there you, Bob's your uncle on that
That's
one.
why we're not a democracy in the universe, folks.
We are iron-willed dictatorship.
We're representative nerdacy.
Day. I am the peace ambassador. Office Space, man, about a disgruntled office worker in the 9-to-5 grind, hypnotizes himself to not care so much. The hypnotist dies mid-hypnotism, and he's stuck in the his hypnotized state with just a sense of...
That's exactly how I described. Yeah.
Your first marriage?
That's a... No, that's how I subscribed the film to somebody today, because I was going around work polling people. Ghostbusters or Office Space? Go.
Yeah. I need an answer
And
right
someone
now.
said, like, I haven't even seen either of them.
And then you slapped
Hey,
them. Hey.
you know, that's awesome. Were they over the age of like 24?
Yeah. Yeah. So, the
Okay.
person in particular I'm thinking of.
Okay.
If you're listening to this episode, I was just kidding in the beginning. Don't report me.
Don't report me ever.
Okay.
So with
Office.
Office Space,
You know what? It sounds like that's what Winter's talking about. Is so some office issues. So Office Space is a good transition. And
it's-
we are going to be talking about like laughs. Like I went through and I kind of did a little final tally between these two movies, and I laughed a tad bit more the second time through watching Office Space, man.
it really gets under your skin, doesn't it? It's a slow burn. This movie, it's not hitting you over the head with the laughs because that's just not Mike Judge's style. But it's very subtle in it's just as much laugh a minute as let's say a Mel Brooks film. It's just the laughs are so buried under satire and sarcasm that you really have to. They just hit you later. It's almost like
And
drinking
realism.
and realism. Having to do with his buddies. I forgot that his best friend was named Michael Bolton, and he just kept getting tired of being asked if he was related to Michael Bolton.
That's funny.
I knew a kid in high school literally named Michael Jackson, and he hated every moment of his life. Poor kid.
I remember working at a hotel and seeing a Michael Jordan on the registration list, and I was like, "Oh God, is Michael Jordan staying here?" And it was a crappy hotel. Guess what? It was not Michael Jordan.
It was Michael Jordan, just not Michael Jordan.
It was not the Michael Jordan.
The Michael Jordan, Doug. You know what I mean? And that movie, he just has a lot of subtle jabs. Like, I like the descent into madness that the nerdy little dude takes. I can't remember his name. It's like Morton or something like that. Where he and we talked about it before, where they interview him.
Milton.
Again, Milton. Is that was his name, Milton?
Milton.
Yeah. He's like, why am I getting interviewed for a job that I already have? It's like these two sub-middle management dudes, and it hurts. This movie hurts so much if you've ever had to work the public sector, you know what I mean? Or the private sector, rather, for like a corporation and had to live half of this movie. It's bittersweet, man, because you're just like, especially if you're still living it.
But what keeps you alive in the office is laughter, man. The craziness of it all. These little things like the printer the printer not working. I still love that scene. And I rewatched the beginning of the traffic scene, and I mean, here in LA, I am not looking forward to a day that comes back.
So that becomes reality again.
Yes, no, like, oh God, it's gonna take an hour to go 2 miles.
Dude, that was and will be, that is the once in future traffic right there, man.
I've heard also that the air is cleared up in LA. Is that true?
It's beautiful. It's 100%. It's a damn it's a damn postcard outside. It's never been this clear.
Oh.
But it's because no one's outside, so you can't go outside. So it's like we're trapped, dude. But that being said, Office Space is a classic. It's a subtle classic. It's not extremely popular. Like Winter earlier today, you said Ghostbusters are Office Space. What was the percentage of people who actually knew what Office Space was?
Okay. Out of the 5 that I talked to, I think 2 of them knew Office Space. One of them chose Ghostbusters, though. Well, out of the 5, 4 chose. No, out of the 5, one of them refrained from voting, and then there was 3. How
did that conversation go? I refuse to answer your question, and he just walked away.
It's the whole thing. Okay, 3, and then 3 voted for Ghostbusters, 1 voted for Office Space.
Who's your favorite Ninja Turtle? First of all, how dare you, sir?
I mean,
we've had conversations like that.
Second of all,
an assault.
That is
like, have you seen? We had conversations like, have you seen Police Academy? Like, no. Well, are you gonna watch it? No, it's not on the top of my list. Winter,
okay. I know not to associate myself with you on any level anymore.
Oh no, I can't get enough of it.
See, I like that because I've had that person where it's like, I am going to crack this shell so bad. Mm-hmm. I'm going to crack this shell. I'm going to figure out their brain, and we're going to be buddies. You know what I mean?
Like, have you seen Walker Texas Ranger? No. Are you going to watch it?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
I think Chuck Norris is stupid. I'm like, okay, we're friends.
Check. Okay, on to the next. Do you like water? Do you like water?
Yeah.
He fought a bear, dude, and won.
I was not expecting much, and that was a pretty good show.
Dude, what is your worst? What would you say is the worst part about Office Space? What's a motif or a scene that you just rubbed you the wrong way? It does one exist? You were like, I didn't like that plot thread, you know.
The mumbling guy with the stapler, and I understand how classic it is and how iconic stapler has become. But at the end of the day, I'm like, dude, why is this dude he's been on the payroll? He's not even supposed to be here. No one can understand what he's saying. Like, I'm just looking at it from, a realistic point of view of being in the office. And I'm like, man, no.
Everybody in every office has that prostate that's just sitting there. That just doesn't do anything, doesn't work. And you wonder how they keep, right? Like, I never seen him make a phone call. I never seen him get up. He's the first one in line when there's free food. He's the first one out the door when it's time to go home. Like,
I'm allowed to play my radio as long as I want.
I'm allowed to play my radio at a proper volume. Right. That guy, dude. That guy exists in every office. He's like, you know how Freddy Krueger's like every town has an Elm Street? Every office has that guy.
Correct.
I'm trying to think of something, because that's a good question. If I was gonna try to come up with a bone to pick, I mean, we could kind of look into the filming, the directing of the film, where it still kind of falls into styles that were popular back then for a comedy, where you have the cue the music in the background and then cuts gag scenes, Mm-hmm. Cue the rock music and then have the guy
formulaic.
Yeah. And it's you see it in my mind, I'm seeing Dumb and Dumber, they have it, and Good Burger and everything in between. And so there's that, but that's not something real that in the long run that's not something I hold against the film. It's just you're eating ground beef. You know what it's gonna taste like.
You order a pizza. It's not gonna if you flip under the cheese and there's just a marshmallow in there, it's gonna freak you out. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you need to freak out though. Sometimes the freak out is good.
Yes.
My big gripe with this movie is kind of the ending. I wasn't a fan of the ending. it seemed to be more fantastical than the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
The ending was just too convenient to me. Like,
You're right. You're right.
it's spoilers for a 30-year-old movie, is that they figure out some kind of virus that they implant into the system, where they're off of everyone's check, off the taxes, they're like taking 2 cents or something like that, but it rounds to like 1 million.
Right.
And it's supposed to be a slower burn, and they end up accidentally pulling like back then it was like $500,000. It was some 90s amount of money. It wasn't like 200 million or nothing crazy. It was like they accidentally pulled like 2.1 million in like a day. You're like, yeah, we're all going to jail now. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to catch us. It's obvious that what we're doing. And then he drives into work to kind of, let the fat lady sing, so to speak. And the whole building's on fire. Like, it's a complete weird cop-out.
Right.
You know what I mean? And everyone kind of just goes off happy, Even Milton has his no salt. He has his perfect ending.
Let me ask you, would you have preferred that? See, pardon me.
Bless you.
Rona.
That Rona.
Would you have preferred to see him get caught in the end?
I would have preferred him going to jail and having the same chill outlook as in jail, and let it be prison space.
That's actually, I was thinking that.
I was thinking like that would have been the perfect sequel. Like, have him go to jail, go to Club Fed, right? And he's still just super chilling, and he just gets by in jail.
Yeah,
I would have loved that, but they
have like a reunion of all the Oz actors.
Oh, no, he goes to Oz? Oh, no. He's not going to make it, Doug.
No.
Adebisi's going to get him, Doug. That's not a good place for him. Adebisi's going to go give him yeah, man. He's going to give him the French mistake, Doug.
Okay.
But I got to tell you, upon a rewatch, one of my favorite scenes was the "Damn, it feels good to be a gangster" scene.
100%. It's the iconic moment of the movie.
I mean, watching that again, you're like, man, this is really, really good. And boy, I could do this.
Makes you, when he guts the fish and wraps it in TPS reports.
Yeah.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster, man. And I would say that the destruction of the printer was the iconic scene, but that's like the second most iconic scene in the movie. That montage of him, tearing down his cubicle wall to make his space 2 times bigger.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And him just getting away with it because they like his can-do attitude, because that's just how corporate would work in that situation. He is a go-getter.
He's a go-getter.
He's a go-getter.
Differently.
He thinks outside the boxes, which is what we need at Dunderland Mifflin or whatever.
Dunderland.
The Office fan is literally throwing Australian Boomerang at me right now.
Could there be, if you were going to direct a sequel to Office Space, what would it be?
This many years subtracted. I would do a home Office Space and have all those guys working from home and having to deal with family around and stuff like that, and having to deal with Zoom and all that crazy stuff. You know what I mean? That's how I would do it. I would make it super relevant to the time, and have them have their office going through a transition of social distancing. Just call it home Office Space.
I mean, no, and I love me some Jennifer Aniston, but it's like Horrible Bosses. We're the Millers. And I'm just looking down. If I saw the covers, I'd be able to tell you quicker. But it's like she's made a ton of these movies. So it's kind of like there has been a sequel made, and I would say We're the Millers or Horrible Bosses. But it's a tad bit darker.
It's just a tad bit darker, man.
It's a tad bit darker and a tad bit more relevant.
No, I'm not a Friends guy, right? I was more of a Seinfeld guy, not a Friends guy. And I'm not being facetious, but is Jennifer Aniston funny?
Yes, she is. And as I was watching this, she's she helps this movie a lot.
Yeah.
She is a natural comedian, man. And
Okay.
you don't really think of her as like a natural comedian, but think about all the comedies she's been in and how iconic those movies are. And you're like,
Is it?
doing a lot of comedy.
I believe there is. She's on record of saying that they wanted her on SNL. Like she might have some improv background as well.
Is it sad that my only real tie to Jennifer Aniston is Leprechaun?
Yeah,
oh, man. When I just didn't we watch Leprechaun for a cast last Halloween?
No.
Because I know I watched it and I was like, Jennifer Aniston's in this movie? What?
I wanted to watch Leprechaun for St. Patty's Day, but I was thought that was culturally inappropriate, so I didn't do it.
So, but you watched Leprechaun Back in the Hood instead.
Yes, I watched Leprechaun Back in the Hood to balance it out.
Yeah, that's funny.
I can make fun of that. Jeez. You know there was 2 Back in the Hoods, Doug?
Of course.
Both? You had to go back. You got to go back to the hood, Doug?
Why
man.
not?
So when it comes to Office Space, and this is something that Winner's brought up, is Office Space in the library of godlike comedies, would you say?
Before you go on, I just have to pitch my sequel idea that we were talking about.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, where they essentially, the company does rebuild and they go back to him, to the main character. He is still working the construction crew and all that. And they go, we need you to run this place. And he goes, all of it? All of it. And then cut to, it's like a Google layout where there's like Zoom meetings and there's like all this. It pretty much opens up so that they can then talk crap about like new office spaces. And then that's just sunny.
Can we have what was the name of the evil the antagonist of this movie? So I'm gonna need you to work over the weekend. Yeah.
So this is
what's his name?
The twist. He is doing motivational speaking across the country, and the movie will actually try to shed him in a lighter light. You show like this is the reason why he became this way is because he was in leadership.
Dang it! I was hoping that he was caught in the burning and was trapped in the basement, and he's becomes a kind of weird phantom that floats around the office. And he has like half his face is all scarred and burned. I
mean, we could add it where it's like his hand was melted to the coffee cup, and if they remove
it, that's what I'm saying. Like his hand is burnt metal, is burnt flesh melded to the cup.
Burnt right on the artery. If we move it, he'll die.
So I learned how to play the saxophone because you only need one hand to play that. Yeah, I forget that guy's
You're right-handed.
He's like, he throws his cape over and throws down a smoke pellet and disappears into the office.
Okay. We're going different routes here. My people will contact your people.
This is the difference between Ryan Johnson and J.J. Abrams.
No, it's up there with like David Lynch or George Lucas.
No, how about we keep things normal? Ryan Johnson's like, what if Jar Jar Binks came back as a Sith Lord? This is why we can't have nice things, Ryan. Keep messing things up. Anywho, is this movie comedy royalty or is it just a popper? Where do you think this movie stands? Because comedies are dead now, man. Comedy's dead. There hasn't been a good comedy in like 20 years, dude.
Stop! Wow.
I'm just saying. Name one. Last 20 years. Amazing. 20 years. What?
Dumb and Dumber.
That was not 20 years ago. That was more than 20 years ago.
Okay.
The Hangover?
Hangovers, yeah.
Bridesmaids?
No, I didn't watch it.
No.
No, he kicked it off the list. If anybody forgot,
we literally kicked it off the list. Dude, that's what I'm saying.
Not Winter.
Family Vacation.
I'm not okay.
Way older, man, and
no, they did a remake.
The remake is absolutely terrible.
This dog shit.
Dude who doesn't like to laugh. So take it for what it's worth. But that was not funny. In fact, it was insulting.
I laughed so hard where the guy's like, "Oh, is that your pet squirrel? Where?" Ah! I'm like,
Oh.
that's funny.
Anywho,
Okay.
where does Office Space fit in the pantheon of comedies, man?
I will say second tier. It is not in the Jerry Rice class of things. It's not in the Derek Jeter, Serena Williams class of things, but it's in the second tier, you know.
Okay.
It's in the second tier. It's below the top.
Yeah,
Well,
like
what-
it's
Oh yeah.
What's your say, winner?
If it's turned on, I'm not gonna be like, dude, can you please just turn this off?
Exactly.
right. Like if we're gonna make a
Dumbers on, I will be like, can you please turn this off?
yeah, if we're gonna make a college, like make a bachelor's degree in comedy film, one of the classes would have to be like oddball comedies or like deadpan comedies or cult classic comedies. And I think it would be in that category, but it wouldn't be in like an introduction to comedy film. I don't think it would be there for that. I don't think it would be in like top Western comedy films.
Yeah.
But it is something like it's still because it's got that strong backing and like it's a Mike Judge joint. You got to go like you got to see it before you leave comedy college, man.
And I will go as far to say I had never seen this movie. I've worked in an office for 20 plus years. This movie's been out since 99. So it holds up because the themes hold up.
Mm-hmm.
Themes from, you know, the 1970s to the 2030s are going to find this like, oh man, yeah, that sucks, bro.
That sucks, man.
Like,
In my future cubicle, you know what I mean?
seriously.
Pineapple Express, better comedy that came out.
Pineapple Express is an action movie.
Okay. All right. With that,
With that-
Brian.
Yeah. He was like, with that, I think this will be a good place to enter into MOTN Masterpiece Theater.
All right.
Are you guys
just,
ready to be prepared to be dazzled? You guys want to smash some fruit?
So to list the cast, Brian will be playing Peter, and I will be playing Joanna.
Peter. I love you, Peter. Peter.
Lois. Okay, here we go.
I don't think I'm explaining this very well. The 7-Eleven, right? If you take a penny from the tray.
From the crippled children?
No, that's not the tray. I'm talking about the tray. The pennies for everybody.
Oh, for everybody. Okay.
Yeah, well, those are whole pennies.
Yeah.
Right. And what I'm just talking about fractions of a penny here. But we do it from a much bigger tray, a couple of million times. So what's wrong with that?
It seems wrong.
It's not wrong. Intech is wrong. Intech is an evil corporation, all right? Tchotchkes is wrong. Doesn't it bother you that you have to get up in the morning and put on that pieces of flair?
Yeah, but I'm not about to go in and start taking money from the register.
You know, the Nazis had pieces of flair, but they made the Jews wear them.
What?
Look, we don't have to talk about this. Let's just go to the barbecue, all right?
Insane.
I'm sorry. That's so stupid.
That's why I picked it. I loved it.
Good line reading, Brian, because that reminded me of that moment. She was like, "What?" She's like, "Don't worry." Like, we don't have to go into this right now. Let's just go. Did you know that the Nazis had pizzas of flair? They made the Jews. That's too stupid. You had a point. Those stupid stars. God. Holocaust. Industrialized murder. That's what the Holocaust was. Speaking of things that'll murder you.
Okay.
Well, okay. Next
I'm sorry.
caller.
You know, thinking about that just makes me just stare off into the distance and go, "Hello, darkness, my old friend." Ugh.
And there you have it, folks. Next caller on the line, calling from North Dakota.
The sound of silence.
Thank you for tuning in to this comedy podcast.
It's so funny.
It is great.
It's so crazy, guys. We talk about anything. Ghostbusters, 1984. Is its combatant. Office Space is standing in the giant arena, and people start cheering, and Office Space doesn't know what's going on. All you hear is a thump, and the doors explode, and Ghostbusters rushes in, screaming, all green and large and going crazy. And Office Space is like, I can handle this. I can handle this raging beast of a comedy.
I fight. Hashtag hard cuts. Can you? Question mark.
So
when you got a song and it ain't that good,
who you gonna call?
Steal from
Randy
Huey
Newman.
Lewis.
I was gonna say Randy Newman. Ghostbusters. I have no problem talking about this movie some more because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm not biased. Parapsychologists decide to become blue collar Ghostbusters. I can't think of any other description for their occupation. They boost the goose, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yes, they become Ghostbusters.
In New York City, Doug.
New York City.
Could they put Ghostbusters in any other location than... What is it about New York?
Well, personally, I would have suggested, if I was in the writing room, like, Ghostbusters 2 should take place in Miami or California.
No, I would like Ghostbusters in the South, like the Bayou. That'd be cool.
That's just an hour and a half of, like, country jokes.
Nah, man, you get to fight the Yellow King and all the deal with voodoo and all. It'll be cool, man. Hoodoo, rather.
Okay, actually, that is pretty cool. Have Dr. John play the ghost.
That's what I'm saying,
Rest
dude.
in peace.
Rest in peace. What is it about? Is New York just the most magical city in the U.S. of A. because of its history and, you know, Ellis Island and all that? And
no offense to my New York listeners, never been, can't say. Here it's fantastic. Here the food's fantastic. I am good with not going to New York City.
No, New York is literally Raccoon City right now.
New York
so
State, we're good, but New York City is just a lot of people, man.
Yeah.
From a small town, so you're talking like L.A. is quite a few people, and
Right.
and Manhattan is
Ugh.
stupid amount of people.
I'm telling you, I've been to New York many times. Manhattan, it's a completely different animal, dude. It has all the hipness of California, but all the old school feeling of like Boston, where it just feels old.
It seems like a terrible place to have a ghost outbreak occur.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's Raccoon City, dude.
Yeah, I still don't think it's like the perfect place to have it. It's just like it's just a trope. Like it's an iconic scene or a filming location to have for movies because everyone knows what New York is. And it's like I can like tell a story from my childhood where I thought the entire state of New York looked like New York.
Yeah.
Like it's just a Blade Runner type landscape of just buildings everywhere in the state of New York, not realizing that there's stuff outside of New York.
Yeah, like as a kid, you don't know about Albany or Buffalo or Westchester, right? You just think New York is this giant metropolis.
Yes, where they film Maury. That's all.
But I'll tell you, Brian, I visited New York as a kid, and I never forget. Me and my dad went to Times Square. We went to 42nd Street to go see Jason Goes to Hell.
There you go.
My dad was
Good one.
We went to DC Comics to go pick up some comics, and then we went to go see. It was a very good day. We went to go see Jason Goes to Hell, and as a kid, you look up, you could just imagine Spider-Man swinging through the city. You can imagine the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man just crushing, bulldozing down the town. It's so alive, that city. It's crazy. Like, even thinking about it now, it's like I would literally just imagine the Fantastic Four going by in their fantastic car, because the buildings are so big that it just makes sense. You know what I mean? And with my crazy imagination, New York was just larger. It's a larger than life city, man.
I mean, here on Earth 24, anything's possible. It doesn't necessarily have to be in your imagination. Give it
I
time.
mean, we have murder hornets now, so I'm like, yeah, there's a
Give it
Spider-Man.
time.
There's got to be Spider-Man out there. He's out there,
I'm sure.
dude. Ghostbusters, man. The music. Once again, I just want to talk about the music. It's so good in this movie. It's so timeless. The music, of course, who you're gonna call Ghostbusters is always great, but like the subtle music, like dreams. Who did it? Magic. Magic.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Who did that? So
I
I
have
like
no
that.
idea.
Jane.
I thought it was Prince.
Who did it? Magic.
I'm not even joking.
Okay, I'm gonna look this up while we're talking.
Dreams. We have to do Batman 1989 at some point. I don't know why we haven't done Batman 1989 at some point. Anyway, Ray Stantz, Peter Venkman, help me with the third name. Ray Stantz, Peter Venkman, Egon. What am I doing?
Egon.
And,
holy smokes.
Holy
Who?
smokes, who? And of course, Winston Sedmore. These four blue collar dudes who happen to be, well, three of them at least, happen to be brilliant parapsychologists. And they just get this crazy idea, like, we're just going to trap ghosts. And
Ernie Hudson, with his small amount of time on screen, had some really good lines.
he held his own. He held
his own. They only gave him, 6 or 7 lines. But when you go through and you look at those lines, it's like, man, those are some pretty iconic lines right towards the end.
Dude, if someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes.
Yes.
Great stuff. He was like, do you believe in the theory of Atlantis? He was like, if there's a steady paycheck in it, I'll believe anything you say, man.
Right.
Great lines, dude.
Yes.
And he was in back then. It was representation, dude. His representation mattered. You know what I mean? So it was cool to see a black man as a superhero
without representation. Yeah.
Thank you. Except for I didn't. There was some kind of weird stuff in Ghostbusters 2, but we're talking about Ghostbusters 1 here.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver, drop dead. I've always had a crush on Sigourney Weaver. She's the coolest. She is science fiction to me. Her being in this film gave it a lot of sci-fi credit at the time because she was still hot off of Alien. You know what I'm saying? Rick Moranis, dude. Like it's
Coming back. Excited to see that.
Yes, I'm so hyped. I've missed that guy for so long.
Let's remake Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Sure. Whatever you want to do, man.
Whatever.
I'm
here for it.
I'm here for it. Like, he's one of those actors that I've always missed. And I'm like, okay, he just went out on the top of his game. Honey, I Blew Up the Kids came out. It's like around the time he retired. Like, yeah, I just want to be a dad for as long as I could do that. He's like, all the kids are out the house, so I can act again. I'm like, dude, more power to you, man. But now that he's coming back, I'm like, yo, let's get it.
I looked up, by the way, the guy who sang that song. It's called "I Believe in Magic," and the artist's name is Mick Smiley. And apparently, he made that song, one other song that's just titled "Magic," and then he disappeared.
He was all about that magic, though.
You know what? He probably got a decent paycheck.
He probably still gets. I mean,
so
I knock no one who's the one-hit wonder, because those one-hit wonders are still getting checks, though.
And there is a Medium article. Apparently, it looks like a guy interviewed Mike Smiley in 2016.
Recent.
Yes, it's 9 minutes to read, and I don't have the time for it. Okay, next.
Hey, that's a whole nother podcast for another day.
What I will say about Ghostbusters is, ever since we watched these films, there are 2 quotes that have been going through my head, and I have to save the next one for next week, ironically enough. The other quote that's been going through my head is, it's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And Bill Murray looks, and he goes, good one, Ray. And it's, dude, that is really, really funny. Because
it just popped in there.
Man, you don't see the Stay Puft coming.
No. It can't be. It can't be. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Yeah. What was the logic again? Like, I will. Your world will be destroyed.
Choose your destructor, dog.
Yeah.
Choose the destructor. It's like, whatever we think of, if you think of the Loch Ness Monster is going to appear and destroy us. So clear your head. And the second he says clear your head, he's like, your choice is made. He's like, what?
Whoa. We didn't make any choices. You know.
Gosh, man, God.
Like he was like, I thought of the most harmless thing on the planet, Mr. Stay Puff. You know what I mean?
Right. So yeah, it's a fun movie, man, and you know the comedy power is 100% there. Even though I question ultimately, you know, how much of a comedy movie it was meant to be.
Right. I mean, and we have a lot of movies that walk the line in a weird way of comedy and action, of comedy and paranormal, comedy and romance. What would you call Clueless? But I think for the most part, because the comedy is so dry in this, it's still a comedy. I think it still should be labeled as a comedy. It definitely works with paranormal overtones.
Paranormal activity.
Paranormal activity. But you know, I would say that for the most part, the yucks are there. The yucks are just constant. Even at the beginning of the movie, where you're introduced to the old lady, you know what I mean? And, you know, she gets spooked, and then you get that iconic black, red, and white logo. You know what I mean?
Fantastic logo.
If I saw a sweater that was in my size, and it had that on there, I would just rock that to this day. I would rock a black sweater with that logo on it, and you know, and feel cool, you know.
Fantastic logo, man.
Dude, with that, you guys want to get into some Masterpiece Theater?
Yeah, let's do it. To set the scene, or to explain who the cast is, Peter will be played by, once again, Brian. And hotel manager will be played by a new player into the theater, Mike G. And I will be playing Ray. And the curtain opens.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Did you see it? What is it?
We got it.
What is it? Will there be any more of them?
Sir, what you have there is what we refer to as a focused, non-terminal repeating phantasm, or a class 5 full roaming vapor. Real nasty one, too.
Now, let's talk seriously now. For the entrapment, we're going to have to ask you for 4 big ones, $4,000 for that. But we are having a special this week on proton charging and storage of the beast, and that's only going to come to $1,000, fortunately.
$5,000? I had no idea it would be that much. I won't pay it.
Well, that's all right. We can just put it right back in there.
We certainly can, Dr. Venkman.
No, that's all right. I'll pay anything.
Insane.
Yeah.
That's the best one we've done so far, I think.
Because you have Mike G on the mic, dog. Mike G brings it home. I bring home the bacon. The turkey sausage.
You got to tell your actors anything, you know, just to get them to perform.
Placate me. Just placate me. I am a delicate genius.
Yes, we have a similar relationship to, like, Herzog and Klaus.
I don't like that reference.
That might be a deep cut for anybody.
I don't like that reference.
Never mind.
I kind of get it.
Okay.
I kind of get it. So, guys, the knife fight has started. 2 blades are out. Who's getting cut, Brian?
Who's getting cut? After, you know, a proper debate, it was not just I'm going to just pick Ghostbusters because it's Ghostbusters. I thought long, hard about it, but honestly, it comes down to Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray. That movie is fun. And if you're looking to sit down with a comedy, no, there's no way you're going to sit down and not laugh at something like that. And I don't like to laugh. So, first round, first cut, Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, man. And like you said, I wanted to give this some thought because I want to be fair. Because I try to take nostalgia out of this when we're doing these.
Yes.
It's super hard to do it, right? But you want to take nostalgia out and say, okay, what's the, in this case, funnier movie, right? And pulling nostalgia away, pulling back that curtain. You have Ghostbusters on one end, like you said, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, Ernie Hudson, Sigourney Weaver. I mean, it just, it's not fair. You know what I mean? You're asking, you're asking Trevor Ariza to guard Jordan in his prime in the 23, It's not knocking anything against that player or knocking anything against Office Space. It's just an unfair matchup. You know what I mean? In regards to just how perfect this movie is. It's one of the few movies I would say is absolutely perfect. Or I do have flaws and I do have issues with some parts of Office Space, mostly the ending. Whereas Ghostbusters has a perfect ending. I love this town.
Perfect ending.
Everyone's having a good time. Everyone's slimed. It's just so much fun, dude.
Even the roll scene, everybody's partying. You got Bill Murray. It's Miller time.
It's Miller time. It's the best,
man.
You leave the theater feeling so good. You leave the movie feeling great, dude. It's just a perfect ass movie.
When we are allowed back into theaters, and after a short time thereafter, or a long time thereafter, I would go see Ghostbusters in a movie.
In a big movie theater with a bunch of people and popcorn, right?
For sure.
So with that, it's got to go to Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is literally the bull in the China in the fine china shop. It's too strong. It's just it overpowers Office Space. And Office Space, mind you, these are hashtag hard cuts. Office Space is not. It's to be respected. It's not a
slouch.
It's not a slouch. It's to be respected. It's a great movie. But hearing that against Ghostbusters, there's few. I'll put it like this: there's few comedies that would beat Ghostbusters.
Well, we're going to be seeing about that here shortly, aren't we?
And it's hashtag hard cuts. Weirder things have happened. I'm just saying that it's out of these two films, Ghostbusters is the superior film.
So that leaves me.
Winner! Hey, how you
doing? So this is a very interesting situation that we find ourselves in, because these are two fantastic movies. So the things that distinguish from like the things that they do differently, those have to be emphasized because they're so fantastic of a film that that we have to look at those things. I think Brian made an interesting point where it's when I asked would you make a sequel, and he listed a bunch of movies that are it has been replicated, only darker and for a modern audience, we can say. And so Office Space, although it might have been unique for its time, has been replicated. Now Ghostbusters, the attempts that have been made to replicate it have been shot down in flames, we will say. I'm wishing the best for this new one. It looks like they're going the right direction, but Ghostbusters does not have a good track record with replications of its formula,
because it's such a niche.
Exactly,
it's such a niche idea. It's
right.
It's a nutty idea.
That's why Ghostbusters has to take the top, because although these are both great comedy films, Ghostbusters is the one that seems to have trouble with people replicating it.
It's the most lightning in the bottle thing.
Yeah. As you were speaking, I was thinking, I'm like, man, have they made a remake of Ghostbusters? And yes, they have, Brian. Thank you. And, outside of the Ghostbusters name, it's no one has tried to create even a animated kid show about people who bust ghosts.
Right.
Outside of the Ghostbusters brand, and that's all encompassing with the Real Ghostbusters, Extreme Ghostbusters, because it's its own brand, Ecto Cooler, man. But no one's really been able to tap into that niche, whatever they created, man.
What's that CW show that's been on for
Supernatural?
I'm that may be the closest thing that is like
Kinda adjacent.
yeah, it's not even close, but it's it's in the vein. It's supernatural. They're out, blah blah blah. So yeah,
And apparently the show's good. Apparently it's run for like 11 seasons. That's had to be for a reason. I
was a
was
charmed guy. So
hey, I ain't mad at that, man. So we very rarely get unanimous decisions on Random Select, and I think Ghostbusters has gotten 2 sweeps so far, if I remember correctly.
I think so. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It
What-
swept
what
Austin
was it up
Powers.
against?
Austin
Oh
Powers.
yeah, no, it had no chance against Austin Powers.
So yikes, right? So
No.
there you have it. Ghostbusters takes week 2. It takes the semifinals on to the finals. Where
Ghostbusters in the finals.
it will face off between the winner of Groundhog's Day and Young Frankenstein. That's going to be a hard cut
Murray
right
movie.
there. Is it going to be the Bill Murray off? We'll have to see, man. It's going to be a Bill Murray-a-thon, dude.
Dude, I have a quote from one of those 2 movies that I have been saying for pretty much every hour on the hour. So can't wait to share it with you.
Sweet. Guys, these are always so much fun to do. Where can we find you, Brian?
You can find me at Brian J. Wash on Twitter and Wash's Shop on eBay.
Dude, find him. What is your premiere item this week, dude? What's the premiere, the chase item, Doug?
I mean, I just sold like a stitch and crafting book, so that stuff is fairly popular.
Nice.
It's like arts and crafts and making things. We're kind of stuck inside. At least some of us are stuck inside.
You're in quarantine. Stitch yourself together a plushie of Slimer, dude. Just do it.
Please do 2, and I'll maybe buy one depending on the price.
If you do, send us a pic and we'll super retweet it, Doug.
There you go. That's
Get
awesome.
Hashtag plushie love. Where can we find you, winner?
You can find me on all your favorite social media except for TikTok at Trash Monk the Third, Trash Monk III, and find me doing wacky things.
Absolutely.
Found a post that I made this morning was a song that I've been looking for, or I couldn't remember the name of, or where I heard of it 3 years ago, but it was just in my mind as the one like song that had like a weird distorted guitar in it. And it came up on my YouTube recommended list like last night, and I've been listening to it ever since.
So you were listening to a weird, distorted guitar sound.
Well, you'll if you listen to the song, it's Marty Robbins' "Don't Worry." It's one of the early attempts of a distorted
like a theremin,
guitar.
like a theremin sound.
No, I'm pretty sure actually it's a bass guitar that one of the amp tubes blew up, and it made a weird sound in the recording, and then Marty Robbins like leave it in, and now it's like the whole song is like very like classic like Western, dun, 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 and then you hear bow, 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 bow.
I was gonna say, if you want to hear distortion, man, you should listen to some Bush. You'll be good, man.
Well, Winter needs the distortion to awaken his heathen eldritch creatures, Doug. He keeps
Lord only knows.
He needs to awaken them during this time now when the earth is most ripe, Doug.
God only knows that the eldritch demons he brings up.
If you want more of this content, you can always visit us at our website, which is mastersofthenerdversecast.com. You can always visit us on Twitter, where we will be doing a poll asking you, the Nerdiverse, which of these 2 movies is the better movie? Is it going to be Ghostbusters or is it going to be Office Space? You let us know. We'll love to figure it out and find out. If you want to support our channel monetarily, you can always do so via our Patreon, which is patreon.com/MOTN. And if you wanted to support us non-monetarily, you can always do so by liking our content, by subscribing to our channels, and by commenting on our episodes, because feedback is important. Are we funny? Hopefully. No? Maybe so. If you let us know. And then it will snow in the Poconos, and that's where the wild goose goes. Fellas, it's been always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
whatever
I
that was.
appreciate it, man. That's great.
Bars.
Read it in the night.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna
the
be.
chicks dig it.
Chicks, girls are watching, guys. We have
The
to.
ones I talk to.
Girls are watching. Button up your t-shirts. And with that, I will thank you and welcome you to the Nerdiverse. If this is your first time listening, I've of course been your host, Mike G, and I will always ask you to make those hashtag hard cuts. Hashtag hard cuts.